In the northern Tasmanian electorate of Bass, natural wonders make tourism a big employer here.
Because it's such a culturally significant area for our people.
But for this Indigenous cultural tours operator, bookings have been slow since the state reopened its border. As the cost of living rises, Greg Murray is worried things will get worse.
We have what they want to see, but they've got to be able to get here and it's got to represent good value for money.
Businesses want free car travel on the ferry to Tasmania extended. They're also lobbying for guaranteed funding to reduce freight costs.
Bass Strait is one of the most expensive bodies of water in the world because it's such a short run. So again, it's cheaper for someone to get a container from Melbourne to Singapore than to get from Launceston to Melbourne.
Launceston is where the majority of Bass voters live. It's the most marginal Liberal seat in the country. Bass has been described as the nation's ejector seat, and that's because at 8 of the last 10 federal elections, it's changed party status. Now, with that sort of history, it's used to being the centre of attention. For publican Grace Robbins, finding staff and the environment are among her top concerns.
Tourism in Tasmania is vital to businesses like this. We also sell a lot of local Tasmanian produce that are all going to be affected by climate change.
The seat of Bass is held by Liberal Bridget Archer on a margin of 0.4%. In the last parliament, she raised her profile by crossing the floor on issues including the Federal Integrity Commission. But even a small swing against the coalition could see the former MP Labor's Ross Hart re-elected.
And these are 100% manufactured here in this factory of
While local manufacturing is booming, companies want the major parties to do more to help them find and train staff.
Every business we represent now employs more people than they did 2-3 years ago, which is great for the region, and hence now we have the issue of the shortage of labour and skills.
Lee Darcy represents big companies like Rio Tinto and GFG Alliance, which both operate smelters in Bass, as well as smaller players like Temtrol.
The universities don't have the international students here to be trained that we normally then attract and keep them here. So whatever can be done to really get students back into the country to start with would be a great start, and then to actually allow that migration would certainly help.
In the neighbouring electorate of Braddon, workers are also in short supply.
We've probably got about 30 vacancies, that's about probably 10%.
The Renison tin mine is one of the largest of its kind in Australia, and with northwest Tasmania on the cusp of another mining boom, job vacancies will grow.
There'll be a competition internally between the mines on the west coast here itself.
The volatile seat of Braddon has a mix of agricultural districts in the north, mining and wilderness areas in the west. It was won by Liberal Gavin Pearce in 2019 with a margin of 3.1%. He faces a challenge from new Labor candidate Chris Lynch. Votes against the major parties are expected to rise. In a tight race, preference flows will be crucial. In this seat, community leaders say there is a dire shortage of housing, and it's contributing to the labour shortage.
There is 2 jobs for every person on the west coast at the moment.
The council here is part of a national lobby group calling for tax breaks for people to build more homes in mining communities.
The 50% fringe benefits that government offer to people to build housing, they want to increase that to 100% so that the people that come into the community want to build houses.
Another sector under pressure from labour and housing shortages is forestry. One industry player told me that even finding an extra 10 workers to help the business expand would be difficult. An hour's drive away in Smithton, Tarkine Fresh Oysters is looking to expand, but finding workers is also tough.
Labor's obviously going to go up with inflation. I see a larger wage rise coming this year from Fair Work. We'll have to look at putting our price up as well. So we bring oysters in here.
Josh Polk is reluctant to say which political party he's backing.
From my point of view, I think either side of politics will support our industry. I certainly hope so.
The time to convince voters is running out.